Let's fire up the TDG Futures Fanatic live stream for the afternoon of Wednesday. It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Hope you've all had a good trading session thus far. I'd expect some additional nice two-way movement even into the afternoon here. We've had just a fantastic week of trading. Nice cross currents continue to exist. Gold giving back quite a bit of its gains. Bitcoin finding a bottom maybe today. Got the NASDAQ getting hammered there as chips are falling off finally. Negative reaction to AMD. And I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe a prop firm non grata, but one you might want to take a look at tomorrow, see if it's a fit for you. Talk about that in just a moment. Thank you for the one for picture and sound. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that the presentation is for educational purposes only. These opinions expressed are mine only. It's not a solicitation to buy or sell any security. If you knew the difference between good advice and bad advice, you wouldn't need any. I'm wrong all the time. While you're learning to trade, you might end up losing most of your money. So go with the prop programs where your losses are limited. All trades presented should be considered hypothetical and should not be expected to be replicated in a live trading account. You can always pause even a live stream at any time to read this disclaimer and risk disclosure and make sure you understand it. Okay, so another pretty good day overall for all of the things I'm doing here, at least for the educational purposes. So the net lick on this particular tracking account now over 40,000. That was a little bit of a goal for today. So that's up 10,000 bucks just since Sunday night. This is all trading micros. Its position's no different than what you see on right there. I'm looking to scale back into Bitcoin if it sells off again here while we're together. I've been trading the Dow Jones in like both directions. The Dow has been just freaking fantastic today. We'll take a look at the Dow on my other charts in just a moment. So again, my current positions going into this afternoon are very limited. I'm just long treasuries, long the ZN, and I am long Bitcoin, and that's about it. Resting some orders down below to pick up some NASDAQ if we get all the way down there and sell it if we get up to the 219s. I'm probably going to, let me just move this up to the plus ones up there just so it's out of the way. That plus one right there is pretty close to this level right here, 25,407s. If you haven't heard me say this before, your volatility bands will differ depending on the time of the bar. The VWAP will always be the same, but these are going to look different than what they look like over here. Okay, so this is gold, by the way, but they'll look different. In fact, if we wanted to look at gold as an example, on a 3-minute, the -2s, -1s are 49.35s, and here they're 49.51s. Okay, so you have to understand that the bands will differ because the calculation has to do with the open and close, the open, high, low, and close of the bar that you're trading on. If you want to get the closest, if you switch these to 5 minutes, you can see what might end up happening here. I'll switch this to a 5-minute chart, a little ugly. 5-minute chart, you got 49.33s and still off. They're still different. Okay, so just do with that what you will. Anyway, resting in order to buy gold down there, basically lows of the session again, 48,871. That was a fun scare the kids little move. The extreme turn buy over here did kind of get you done. Pretty much found a bottom. It would have been a little treacherous to be holding through the 930s because it flushed for about 60 bucks there. Did anyone trade gold successfully in either direction? I had longs, cover, long, cover, and that was it. My bull bear arrows are now pointing a little bit towards some buys. We'll see what happens on the next bullish candle if we get one in here. What have you guys been trading today? What do you got going on? I just want to come back to Bitcoin because this is going to be where I'll focus most of my attention, at least this afternoon. Trade Lab recordings are, you want to check with Brad on that. I know he records them, but I don't put them on my YouTube. So he might put them on some sort of Trader Beat somewhere. Yeah, let's look at the Dow Jones today, okay? Let's do a little quick walk down memory lane. All right. I know you can do this differently. You can just slide the bar right here, so let's just do that, right? Okay. All right. So for the last couple days, we have seen a little bit of divergence in the morning. The opening 30-minute candle, first two candles are your initial balance. We've seen the Dow Jones tend to get bid. Obviously, only makes up about 30 stocks, and Apple was up today. Cat Tractor seems to be up every day. Goldman Sachs started the day up and then reversed. Did the same thing yesterday. So we're up here and we're hugging these lines, hugging these lines, hugging these lines. Okay, I'm just sitting there watching and watching and waiting and watching and waiting, and then a little bit of this is a feel thing. But as soon as I got a break there, that was a short, and I just covered it there. Okay, and then here we had a short. Let me make this different, like. And by the way, if you're a member of my group and you were following along and doing these trades today, it was fantastic. Here's another short here and another one, okay? Now, you want to talk about making the least amount of money possible, cover, cover, right? Cover, cover. Now, the key though is that I'm doing this here while meanwhile over in a real live account, this is where I was swing trading and holding. By the way, I'm resting some orders up there to sell. We can see if we can go the whole cycle. So here we go, short, short, cover one here, short, short, cover, short, cover, short, cover, short here, cover, okay? So just fantastic two-way action today, but if you look at it over here, and for those of you that are not familiar with this bar, it's called a modified Renko. It's a Ninja Renko. They're available in a lot of different charting packages. I prefer to look at this because it's a little bit more granular and gives me a lot more than if I'm looking at this. Again, I've moved that down to a 5-minute bar. But so here you go. Perfect touch. Who took this trade right here? Your actual targets are here and here, right? And we went to there. Now, when you're first starting out, and Brad was going through this in the trade lab that we just finished up, don't fiddle in the middle. Don't do anything in here when you're first learning. There will be days, of course, where there is a bit of a slope and there's a bit of a trend, and you might want to use pullbacks to VWAP as an area to enter. Okay? Then you come down to here. After being all the way up here, down to here. Now, I didn't trade any of these, and again, I know it's easy all the way after the fact, but you build positions anywhere in here, even if you get in here. You took a little bit of heat, comes back into the bands, into the middle, and there's your profit target again. If you ended up holding for that, great. Now let's move our arrow. I mean, there's so many, okay? So I did end up shorting there, and then I shorted there, then I shorted there, then I covered, then I covered. Again, this is about the minimum amount of money you could possibly make, right? Then by that I mean I'm just not holding any of these positions for target, right? Here's a sell here. Here's a sell here. Here's a cover and a cover, so now I'm flat. Then I get short again, and then we cover. You guys remember this from the room this morning? Then we get short again, and then you cover. By the way, these are all single contracts, and this was the account I was doing it in. It's $548 in a Take Profit Pro account, trading 1 and 2 contracts of the Dow Jones. Sometimes I had as many as 3 on. And I got as scalpy as possible. There has to be people in my group that did far better than that. Far better than that. And maybe far better than that, maybe not as much, but $300 or $400 across 10 accounts. Is there anyone in my group today that just crushed the Dow? And then you can just keep walk forwarding today. Today is a day to look at this thing, okay? No cover. There's a perfect long here, okay? Now, but Rod, you just said don't fiddle in the middle. Okay, let's say you didn't take this, right? You're not trading every single level, because then down here it didn't work. But here's the short right here. And this one I actually did a better job. So short all the way down there, cover right there. if you have access to these templates and you can walk forward, back test, go back through today. Today is an absolute clinic in how to handle this. Okay. Now the next thing I want to look at is over here on the S&P. Okay. I want to look at the S&P here for a second, because this is also another masterclass in what you can do. This morning, okay, we were in a bear continuation pattern. It simply means that price is trading below this 233, quick identification of trend. When you're in a bear continuation pattern, does that mean that you only take shorts? No, just an orientation, okay? Just an orientation. But rather than focus on the sell-off part here, this is what you can't miss in mean reversion trading. You can't miss this long here, okay? Because this is almost the equivalent of an SOS 5. I don't know if I've seen anything like this in a while. So the market is coming down, it's coming down, it's coming down. I discussed the extreme turn signal the other day, right? So it was a 2-bar extreme turn signal, then put in a doji, then reversed. But you have all kinds of things going on here. You have an extreme turn buy. You have a prior session low. Okay, this is the prior session low, right? And then if you tighten this up, you have the day before. So we're trading on a Wednesday. This is Tuesday's low, there's Monday's low. This zone is sitting there. I drew it in this morning. Extreme turn buy, prior session low, S1 if you want to add a pivot. Entire bid zone. Extreme turn buy. You have got to be able to put your first long is right here and find ways to there's probably another long right here. And I know it's scary in real time because the thing's just falling. But you have to look at this. Also, you have nice separation from the T line. The further you are from T line, the more the whole idea of mean reversion. And if you just tighten up this S&P chart, it's a thing of beauty. It's 68, 70, 68, 50s areas up to 7,000, 7,025s. So when you get an opportunity to buy, you can't miss these trades. You have to catch these. Okay? Heck, the damn indicator says so right here. It says buy. This entire template, you do have to have the order flow suite on NinjaTrader. There's many ways to get that now. You just there's a lot of different prop firms that are using what's called Tradivate Prop. You get an inexpensive account with Tradivate Prop. You go into Tradivate, click a few settings, connect to your NinjaTrader, and you're good to go, and you're going to have the order flow suite. You set this up properly. You want the entire template, I give it away for free, and this is all changing. I'm going to continue to stream. Yesterday I mentioned coming in for the 249 special because you get this indicator. I'm going to stop emphasizing that because a bunch of you don't know how to use TradingView, don't know how to use NinjaTrader, and then bought the thing and then couldn't figure things out. I'm not here. Look, if you use NinjaTrader, Tickblaze, or TradingView, then this is a good deal for you. If you use something else, then you don't need the indicator. But the 249 deal is still good to become in the room, because only for a limited time am I going to continue to give away this entire template on a trial. You can just come into the trial, you download the template in the workspace, you download the workspace, you install it into Ninja, and you have this entire template that you're looking at here, which might look extremely busy until you figure it out. If I move this out of the way and delete this, the other thing I want to point out is how relatively easy volume profile analysis can be if you just make it easy. Meaning that you have a line right here, but as I was mentioning this morning, look at all these volume areas that are interesting. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. So this whole trade could be played out ahead of time. Okay? As we come down to here, your next long is there, your next long is there, your next long could be on S1, or you don't add any longs. You just enter your initial position here, and most of you should have the risk budget to be able to handle 20, 25 points on a few micros in the MES. Especially if you're already up on the day because you were trading the Dow Jones. And, oh, here's another weird thing. Not sure exactly why, but seems like this moving average here had some significance. Remember, this is a profile exhaustion, whatever you want to call it, outside value area. But this right here is a perfect touch almost, a little scare the kids, of the T-line, the 233. So we stayed on trend. And now, at least for now, every single attempt to try to get above the prior session high has been rejected. So just a thing of beauty on two-way action today. Okay, let's look again. Yesterday I talked about how well the extreme turn buy got you done finding a reversal in Bitcoin to the upside. It did it for you again today, except this time it was on a single bar. The signal fired, the very next bar, it was gone. You buy, and we came up, and now we're sustaining a break above close above the 73,600s, which are probably going to end up being right in here is going to be the POC for the day. Now, this is the prior session high, this is the prior session low. In all instruments, always for the end of time, it is easier to be long than to be short. So while I caution on doing anything on outside day ups when price is trading above the prior session high, be very cautious trying to fade it because markets just have positive skew. You want to get your shorts on when we're still inside range. But on the long side, when we go below the prior session low, especially if it happens in a flush, because that's how it happens. I mean, I'm not a genius here. I just watched markets for 30 years. I'm like, this thing seems to happen around the prior session highs and lows. Wow, what a surprise, because there's a lot of orders resting there, and there's muscle memory from the prior day, right? So when you see this, you have an order resting right here at 73.08, okay? Boom, you're long. You see the extreme turn buy, you're even longer. You love it, okay? Look at how much separation we have from the T-line, okay? $7,000. I don't even know how many ticks that is. $7,650. I don't care if Bitcoin goes down to 40 or 50,000 in this type of method. I'm going to make a fortune on it all the way down on the long side. And you can do the same thing too. If you want to look at it over here on the stay in your lane, it's back inside the bands, but you just put an order. I mean, I can't trade Bitcoin in this account. I can trade it in, I don't know, all these accounts. So look, I'm already resting an order here and here.
Order submitted.
Okay. Just put the order on the line. After you've done this analysis over here, you're like, I want to be long all in here. I don't care. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's that. Looking like we may see everything slow down. I take my tempo from gold. Like gold has gone through some fits and starts again today, but at least for right now is not doing silly things. So as soon as gold maybe wakes up and starts getting wackadoo, then maybe we'll have an opportunity to see some of the stock indices move around a little bit. Let's watch the NASDAQ. It'll probably be the most interesting thing to watch. 25,070 is the POC right here. All right. Now we go question time. What's the name of the template for Sierra chart? I don't have it for Sierra chart. In my trade community though, we have I think there's too many freaking channels. Maybe at some point we'll set all these channels down, but we got requests for all these various platforms and all these various channels. So let's see if I can bring Discord up. Okay. So over here, if you end up becoming a member of our community, we have a free Discord. You can always go into the free Discord. It's a bit of a cesspool, but you're welcome to go in there. By the way, I always want to say this all the time. I don't DM anybody. I don't DM you first on any platform. I barely do much with DMs at all. I prefer to set live appointments with my members, and if and when there's ever anything else that I sell or offer, you will hear about it from me directly, not on some sort of DM thread. I don't DM you in Discord. There's at least 10 or 15 impersonators in there and fake accounts at all times. We do our best to try to get rid of them. But if you come into my community and you hear from someone saying, hey, I got a great coin, or follow this, or here's this bot, or whatever the case may be, it's not me, okay? It's fake. So just know that. But in terms of, there was a question about Sierra. Here's all the platforms that we have threads on, and they are, let me move this over a little bit. Rhythmic, Sierra, Tickblaze, Tradeovate, TradingView, of course NinjaTrader, NinjaTrader. But anyway, so in the Sierra charts thing, you would just come in here and you'd see that we have all kinds of people that are Sierra charts folks that have built the same brickwicks. They have all the same templates, but you just have to be a member of the community to get all that stuff. Is it advisable to trade other sessions like Asia or London? So that's the answer to almost every question is it depends. For right now, gold's looking like it's a 23-hour market, right? So if you're in Asia or London, for right now, the metals have lots of activity, enough range, and you can probably trade them. They'll tend to be the most active still during the New York session, but not all the time. I would not trade any of the stock indices unless they're native to that area. So if you're in Asia, trade the Nikkei. If you're in Europe, trade the DAX. You want to trade a stock indice when the stock indice is open, and you generally want to trade around the open of that. So you can trade, all you need is enough volatility and volume. You come into my trade community, you'll learn how to measure that. So like, let's say you were trading the DAX during the DAX time. When the DAX is closed, or when the German market is closed, the European market, you're building up a little bit of volatility and volume, maybe not a lot, but on days in which you have a lot, then you could trade it prior to the open of that market. Other times you want to wait till that market opens. Patient won the day. I waited for 4,900 MGC this morning and watched it until it hit. Still scary, but it worked out. Yeah, great. Yeah, gold gave you a bunch of like fits and starts today, right? And then ultimately, yeah, the move down to 4,900 was fantastic. You got about 60 or 70 points out of it, maximum favorable excursion. What is T-line? T-line is a 233 EMA, and it's mostly applied on higher time frames, 30 minutes or higher. We have some people that apply it to a 5-minute chart. I have it running on a couple other charts that are tick-based, which is going to make it look more like an 8 EMA. Don't worry about that. So the T-line is a 233 EMA. Why 233 EMA? Well, I've spent 15, 20 years with a bunch of really smart people, and we went on a project for about 4 or 5 years to try to figure out the ideal and optimal settings for all of the common indicators out there. Yes, everyone was using 10 period, 50 period, 200 period SMAs, and a lot of the defaults for many oscillators and indicators are 14 days. So we went and back tested as much as we possibly could and said, is there any times in which maybe we're fooling ourselves? Could be. But I can tell you there's almost nobody else out there using that time period. So apply a 233 to your charts. I do it over here too on higher time frames for, like if we're going to look at the gold chart. This is a 55 period and a 233. On a 4-hour, on a 2-hour, we got down through it. On a 4-hour, it ended up being about the best thing you could possibly. I don't know if anyone, go back and watch my Sunday stream when I'm calling this 4,600. Now, That scared the kid down to 44 or 50s. That was brutal. Thank goodness I was asleep. But, I mean, this is just a thing of beauty here. It's a 4-hour extreme turn buy. The signal comes off. Yes, it's treacherous. These are huge moves and big candles for 4-hour periods of time. I get it. But this is just a lesson in, look at the two highest peaks. Let me use a different arrow here. I'll use this one. Okay? Look at this and this. What do we notice? I'm not sure. What do we notice? For the most part, once we got, flush all the rest of the suckers out there, get back above here, 4,600 becomes pretty magical. Where's your target? Right there. 5,080s. And today we got up to about 5,100 at one point, I think. Pretty close. So here's their 233 on this time frame, and you can see how it's still identifying a bullish trend. We are still in a bullish trend, no doubt about it. We call this bull continuation pattern. Bull continuation pattern. All right, joining today after been super impressed with the free trial. Love it. You said you're for trading outside day up, don't fade. Does that mean that the probability of coming back up from an outside day down is higher than pulling back from an outside day up? I haven't. The only probabilities I can tell you is 20 years of backtesting the S&P, where when the amount of range is over 50%, since the New York Open, so from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 5:30 a.m. the next day, if that range is 50% of the 7-day ATR, there's an 88% chance that price will stay within 2 standard deviations. If it's 80 or higher, there's almost a 95% chance. And if it's over 120% ATR, it is almost impossible to get 2 standard deviations away from VWAP on those days. So those are some probabilities of price staying contained. In terms of saying, is it a higher probability that price reverts back up from the downside when it's below the prior session versus the upside? I can't give you the probabilities. I can tell you it's an easier trade to manage, and I can tell you the markets all tend to V-bottom a lot more than they V-top. So it's just easier being long. So the further something gets outside the prior session day to the upside, the more treacherous it becomes to short. Why? Because shorting is a mechanism that is inherently bullish, right? You guys all get this, right? Why do markets act like this? Okay? Because on the downside, what happens when shorts are covered on the downside? I'll just wait. You guys know this, right? It's just market mechanics. What happens when shorts are covered on the downside? It creates buy orders, right? So you have all the people that are naturally buying to try to find a bottom because people like to buy. And then you have all the shorts that are covering, that are creating buy orders, buy pressure. The exact opposite happens on the upside. Let's look at what happened in silver. I did a video on this, okay? I did a video on this. Now, you don't see it necessarily right in here on this chart, but word is about $3 to $4 to $5 billion worth of shorts were liquidated right here at around 119, which caused this very next candle to pop up here to about 121 and then the big sell-off. Now, this is market dynamics that you can't see on the chart. But the question was, is it higher probability? It's just easier to be long and to buy outside day downs on the long side than it is to be short and mess around with outside day ups. So another way I would state it is when you're first learning mean reversion or this kind of style, just don't trade at all when you're outside up. Do not short the market on outside up. Doesn't mean you go long against the level that we broke out from. That's a totally different strategy. It's not really back testable. Breakout trading is about the worst, the lowest probability trade you can do is breakout. And the reason is it's very difficult to backtest those types of things because breakouts don't happen that often. You can, especially on higher time frames. So you get a very small sample set, and there's nothing reliable about the way things act once those things happen. That's right. They sweep liquidity. That's right. Yeah. ICT. Let's talk total nonsense about things that have happened in the past. Let's talk total nonsense about things that have happened in the past. Here's the way to get good at trading, everybody. Trade the hard right edge of the chart. Yes, you can look left, but here on this Dow Jones, I'm trading the hard right edge of the chart. I'm resting orders up here at this red line, basically close to prior session highs, hard right edge of the chart. All right, so today so far we talked about how well the Dow respected the volatility bands today in ways that you had multiple round trips from various levels. A flip side, the other thing that I talked about a little bit today was how even with something like Bitcoin getting close to being outside day down again, you can earn the right to find the bottom in these things. I think a 5 lot would be a little big going into today. So let me cancel this and cancel that and cancel this. So for some reason, there's some sort of weird flush in Bitcoin between now and when we finish up here. I will take home a 3 lot, gladly take home a 3 lot there. The look on the NASDAQ today to catch bottoms was, as is often the case, a little bit more treacherous, but I'd like to cherry pick for you guys, but I just don't think I can. Do you think this indicator might be something you want to start to get access to? I don't know, I'm just saying. Just saying. In these types of environments, when markets are moving pretty quickly, I would advise or make a little shift where I wouldn't do anything on the first candle. I see the signal, first candle, I just hold off. I want to know what happens on the open of the next candle. Is the condition still present? Oh, yes, it is. On the open of the next candle, is the condition still present? Yes, it is. On the open of the next candle, is it present anymore? No, buy. Does it work all the time? No. But we were just talking about the difference between being long and short. If we look at how well it found some bottoms to the downside, it's doing a little bit better job. Now, this over here is very easy to filter out. I have no interest in using this signal as a short signal up here. Why? Because we're so close to T-line. In order for me to be interested in extreme turn sells or to try to mean revert from some level, I need to be way above this moving average. Can I get a 1 in the chat if that makes sense? So this is a super easy filter. I don't care all these signals. I'm not waiting for it to come off so I can go short. I don't care. Right? But down here, great separation from the T-line. 1,000 points, right? Almost 1,000 points. Or you can spend your time trying to understand what the heck a fair value gap looks like on a chart. Great. Congratulations. So I was going to grab this. Speaking of, someone mentioned PropShop. So let me grab this. I'll take that off the screen. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this in the chat. So tomorrow there is a webinar from PropShop. Okay. Now, many of you have been waiting on my opinion of PropShop since all the changes that happened, and I mean the place never got stability, right? It was one change after another, after another, after another, after another. Now, again, I don't want to be apologetic for it, and I'm disappointed in everything that went down from the time they launched to where we're at right now. That being said, as best I can tell, they honored and paid out a lot. Well, I know exactly what they paid out. They paid out a lot of money. The people that most got screwed were the ones with balances in their accounts that had managed to hold on to a lot of accounts, which was some people, but a very, very few amount of people. So all that being said, on the futures side, not thrilled with the way the program works. You can look into it if you'd like. Why did they do it? Well, you'll find out tomorrow. They truly are going to launch stocks. Not CFD stocks, but actual stocks. So you can, on the same platform at the same firm, using something like Tickblaze, you can trade equities and you could trade futures, which is pretty cool. We'll see how the programs work. They're going to roll it out tomorrow. I'm going to send out an email. If you watch my streams but you're not on any of my mailing lists, I would recommend you grab the Futures Fanatic, the ebook, and you'll get an email about the webinar tomorrow. Also, full disclosure, I find some of their webinars painful to sit through, so you can just register and then watch it on replay. And then see if you think that it's worthwhile. There are about 5 other firms with a model that does support stocks. One of them is called Trade Funder. They're in partnership with T3 Funding. There's another that allows you to trade equities and stocks called Maverick Trading. But none of these are ones that I talk about or that you hear about very often. They don't spend much money on marketing, and the price of the programs cost a heck of a lot more. Which, by the way, that's something you should expect from, if you want to be involved in the stock stuff, the accounts are going to cost quite a bit more. So just know that. Futures are highly levered. The data feeds aren't very expensive. You can see how many futures firms have been set up. Anyway, that's tomorrow. I'll send out an email about it. What's the ADX on the extreme turn? If you're a member of my group, you get the indicator and you can just look at the settings on there. I'm not going to put them up on the screen. I did a video where I did show briefly. I showed what the settings were so that some of you could just have ChatGPT write you that indicator. You're about 60% of the way there if you just set your RSI to 85 or higher and 15 on the downside. So instead of 80-20, set it to, I have mine set to 86 and 14, and then there's some ADX settings. But ADX is the hybrid special sauce that makes the indicator different than just putting an RSI. People have been trading RSIs for a long time. So we added, again, for the $249, you get 90 days in the trade room, plus the extreme turn, plus the dual RSI, which is pretty cool, plus this trading strategy, which is pretty neat too. Speaking of ADX, this is just an ADX signal bar strategy. It just paints the bars slightly different colors depending on momentum. Bright red is a buy. Super, like this turquoise is a sell. I don't even teach or do anything with this, but there's some training on it. You get it. You can mess around with it, apply it to your chart if you want. And then this is another one that's doing the same thing. I mean, you guys have seen all this stuff before, but some of it can really work and help people out. When the background is red, you're looking for shorts or only short. When it's blue, you're long. So right here, this bar opens with a blue background. You go long. Maybe you get shaked out here when you see one bar close with the red background, but let's say you're adventurous and you just kind of hold through it, hold through it, hold through it, hold through it. Maybe you get shaken out here. Shaken out here is not bad when you see the bars reverse, but definitely once you get back to back, you're gone there. And then you can just reverse short. You stay short until you see this. Then you stay short again. Totally included. Have fun. I'm not a huge fan of those types of things. The extreme turn is a super valuable tool, but what you need to do is learn how to develop situational fluency and see markets in real time, and then get comfortable with a strategy that gives you dynamic levels in which to rest orders. Okay? So on the NASDAQ, here is my 2 sell orders if I were to get short. See this line right here that's right next to this green line? Boom. Put an order right there. Someone asked yesterday if the afternoon was a better time to do this. It's certainly the time in which you have the most data to work with. The trouble is, by the time we get together for these afternoon sessions, a lot of the times the moves have already happened. So there's been some sessions where it's pretty active and there was things to do. There's been other sessions where there's just, like today, there's just nothing to do. We got 2 more minutes till market on close. Oh, in terms of the mechanics of the way the PropShop futures program works now, it's like I could do that in my sleep, like absolutely in my sleep. Low stress, no problem at all. It's just when you compare it to all the other choice out there, you just have to decide if it's the kind of thing for you. If you're not familiar, they have a number of different benchmarks. You got to take it really slow. Probably takes at least 20 to 60 trading days to get through everything. Some people are like 20 to 60 trading days. Screw that. I can pass a Apex in one day and YOLO all over the place. But in terms of making $125 a day using risk-adjusted stuff, super easy. Can you show how you draw offer and bid zones on the range trader today? Yeah, let's do that real quick. Some days there's some discretion, some days there's not. So here's how we draw our offers and bid zones. Okay, I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, on the upside, we're trading on a Wednesday, right? So this is Tuesday's high was 727. This is Monday's high was 17. Oh my God, a 10-point offer zone. There you go. Draw it in. Okay. Now, I don't know when. It could be Friday. It could be tomorrow. It could be not till next week or whatever. We will be back up here, and it will be treacherous, and it might not hold the next time. But this is the offer zone. Tomorrow, the offer zone, the prior session high will be right around here, right? 69.64. So it'll be a little sloppier, but today it's perfect. Now what do we do on the bid zone down here, right? Tuesday's low, Monday's low. This is what I was talking about earlier. For all the times that people want to say, I get killed when it does this, or markets trend more than they don't, which is not true, or it's easier to trend trade this. Okay, fine. If it's working for you, perfect. I'm just here to show you something that if you're gonna deal with the FUD of the days in which you feel like you're fighting a strong trend and it's not working, for God's sake, you have got to, especially on the long side, make a bunch of money in here. And I'm not just saying because it worked out. I'm not saying that because it worked out. You have to have orders here on the long side. What if it flushed even more? What if ICT was correct and it just, I don't even know what he says. This was a flush. What I love the damage is in the wicks. The damage to who? Anyhow, the flush happens, whatever happens. You build a position here long and it starts to go down more. You don't even have to tighten your chart. You can see that that's where we were. But you don't have to tighten your chart and start looking, oh, the next level is here. I hear this all the time. Well, now do I have enough risk budget? Can I handle 68.20s? Or it's probably going all the way back down to 68.20s. Who cares? You hit the close button if you can't handle it anymore. Just hit the close button and don't lose more than 10% of your account. Do you see how easy this is? I mean, I swear to God, it's easy. Don't miss high probability areas to be long. This thing was drawn in here ahead of time. Okay? Drawn in here ahead of time. Sitting there. No discretion. Tuesday's lows connected to Monday's lows. Week lows. The weekly lows. So, there you go. Okay, Snorefest so far on the but the way this would have been in real time, okay, is here and here.
Order submitted.
So what are you looking at 68.86, right? At 68.86 down to 68.66, $100. So when you add this one right here, you're going to be down at that point $100. If it continued to decline and you have a $300 daily risk budget, and then you're down 100 right here. Now you're down 120, 150. You just hit the close button. And you've risked half of your DRB on one trade if that was the first trade you did for the day. On the upside, my orders would be resting here and at T-line.
Order submitted.
So I'm only doing range trading right now. I'm not even looking at staying in your lane, right? The two strategies are complementary, but the levels on the range trader are prior session low, prior session high, T-line, and prior session POC. After that, you can learn to just read the profiles. High volume node here at 46, high volume node here at 38, POC at 23. A little bit of built up inventory here at 68.90s, 83s, and 73s. Let's look at the Dow one more time because I just don't know how much. Anyone get short the Dow as it was chopping around there in the offer zone? You're going to get one more trade on today. It's just amazing. Look at this. I mean, I don't know. You can't make this up. Here we go. Please, one person tell me, especially from my group, put MYM in the chat if you were building a short right in here. And I'm not just saying that because it's working out. I'm saying also you had 49.795 above it. From a situational fluency standpoint today, the last couple days have been interesting. And I was just talking to another trader today about this. Thank you for everyone who actually is signing up for Lifetime. If you sign up for Lifetime, you get the privilege of 4 15-minute meetings with me per year if you'd like. So take advantage of that. I love talking to you guys. I said off screen, I was some of the biggest trades I've done in the Dow Jones in a while. I mean, and that's not that big. It's like four or five contracts in the full Dow Jones. But I was doing that across a couple different live accounts. At one point, I had about 20 contracts on short. And it was strong to start the day. But then you just look at the other markets. The NASDAQ immediately started to sell off, reacting to AMD's earnings and other things. And you had a pretty mixed market even within the Dow. It wasn't like everything was up. Goldman Sachs was down. Cat Tractor was up a little bit. Apple was up. Microsoft was flat. I'm like, there's no way the Dow is going to get away from us on the upside today. I shouldn't say no way. In my mind, I'm just processing this in real time. This is situational fluency. It would be very surprising today if the Dow could stay bid. This is back here, okay? It would be very surprising today if the Dow could stay bid. Okay? Here's the open last night. None of that matters. Okay? It would be very surprising if this Dow could stay bid. Now look, it made another effort at it again. This is where I got short at 700s today. So, but I'm just look over at the NASDAQ. I look over at the S&P. Very different from a day where it's just a runaway train to the upside for everything. NASDAQ's up 2% or 1%. S&P continues to get bid on every little pullback. Now you're trying to fight the Dow because it's at the plus twos, and Rod said to sell the plus twos as long as it's inside day, and it just keeps going up, and then it goes outside day up, and then it keeps going up, and you're like, fuck this. You can't always know those particular days. You can see when things are highly correlated, but you can notice a day in which this morning, or really for the entire session, the NASDAQ came off its lows, but it was pretty beat up. The S&P came off its lows, but it was pretty beat up. The Dow showed relative strength the entire session, but yet again, could not get away from us. So what's your tell even here that you probably have a manageable short late in the day? I'll tell you what your tell is. You see, this is up 236 points, 50 bips. Just go over to the NASDAQ. Here's your tell. This thing's down 2%. You know, if you really want to become, a real pro and stuff, make sure then you also have just some sort of watch list up, right, with all the Dow stocks in it. Freaking Goldman Sachs is down $26, 3%. It's the biggest stock in the Dow. How in the world is the Dow going to get away from you? By the way, please, let's go look at the 2 videos I did on my biggest short position in the market is AppLovin. I am short from 640, and I am not covering because this thing is going to 220, probably lower. Mark my words. Don't short it today. You can't short it today. This little thing here says that you can't short it. Can't short AMD. Can't short AppLovin. Anyway, go back and look at my shorts. I did a stream where I put on this position. So I'm going to gloat about it now. I especially loved the other day when there was 2 wirehouses that put out buys with targets of 710. I was like, oh, the best thing in the world. Definitely going lower. All right, everybody. I think that will be it for today. So occasionally Dum Dum gets it right. Telling my group for a while, a couple weeks ago, that I had some silver put positions on. I told everybody when I rolled up and out from the 80s to the 100s, I rolled 80% of it to the 100s. Obviously still made a ton of money on that, but if I just left the position alone, I would have been fuck you forever money. No, not quite, but it was a great trade on that silver. And then the other one is AppLovin. So different than what we're doing in here, but all the things you can kind of learn. All right, I think that will be it for today. Amgen is Amgen up a bunch today? I didn't see that. Yeah, there's a pop right back up to the plus 2s as we close here. All right, everybody, you know the drill. If you're here and you spent some time, I really appreciate it. Or even if you're watching it after the fact, You can watch it at faster speeds. I would highly suggest that you do that. But the likes and the shares really help. I appreciate it. Stay green, trade like you mean it. We'll have one more stream tomorrow. And for those that are members of the group, we'll see you tomorrow for our live stream in the morning. Be good. Bye-bye.